Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our webinar series, Navigating Dataiku with Compass. So today we're going to be diving into advanced data processing. Just a little bit about Compass before we start. So we're an analytics consulting firm based in Montreal, and we really do everything related to data end to end and have a very talented team that does everything from data transformation and strategy planning, data engineering and data science, AI, machine learning, application development, and dashboarding. And here at Compass, we really believe in being teachers first and are also a very proud Dataiku partner in Canada. So with that said, we're really doing this webinar series to showcase the amazing data capabilities and solutions possibilities that Dataiku has to offer. Now we'll do some introductions on the team. So Will is hosting the webinar series with myself. He's not here today to introduce himself, but one of our managing partners at Compass with over 10 years of analytics and data transformation experience in many industries, including airlines, CPG, education, and finance. And myself, my name is Ethan. I'm an AI consultant at Compass based in Montreal with a background in analytics, math, and computer science. I also have over 5 years of experience building AI and machine learning models across many industries, including health, pharma, and CPG. And I have 1 year of experience working on Dataiku. And as a practitioner, it really is my preferred platform for all things data science related. So I'm very excited to share with you all today. So what is on the agenda? Well, we're going to do a brief intro for any beginners who aren't super familiar with the platform on what is Dataiku. Then we'll go into the advanced data processing. So we're going to look at time series data preparation, geographic data processing, text and natural language processing, then finally, briefly, images, audio, and video processing. So why should you use Dataiku, and where can it sit within your enterprise? Well, it's really the best AI and ML engine that gets you from your silver layer data to your gold. And this, of course, comes after you've built your data engineering pipelines from your bronze to silver layer. Then Dataiku comes in and makes it very easy to connect all of those data sources. From there, Dataiku excels at performing any last like ETL and data prep before building and deploying your AL, ML models and projects. All of this is done in one platform with centralized governance. And finally, the output of your AI and machine learning projects can be seamlessly connected to your end user business applications like Tableau and Power BI. So what really is Dataiku? Well, it's a centralized analytics workbench that lets you collaborate with others regardless of their technical skill. So this means a business analyst with absolutely no coding knowledge can collaborate with data engineers working in SQL and Python, or really anyone in between. Now, what does it exactly look like to collaborate on a project? Well, what you see here is called the flow. And this is the window in Dataiku that lets you connect data, perform your data preparation and transformation steps, build and deploy machine learning models, and all happens in one visual interface that anyone can understand. And finally, Dataiku is cloud agnostic, meaning it can be deployed across all your major cloud providers like AWS or Microsoft Azure. And then also it integrates connections from any data source and popular data lakehouse architectures such as Databricks and Snowflake. Now, jumping into advanced data processing, we'll talk about time series first. So time is often a critical factor in the data that we want to analyze or predict, like, for example, demand, sales, or usage patterns. But before building those forecasts, we need to clean and prep our time series data. Dataiku's time series preparation plugin includes recipes to help with just that, from resampling and windowing to extracting extrema and decomposing trends. These steps help ensure our models are fed clean, structured, and insightful time-based data. Now let's jump into the first plugin recipe. We'll talk about resampling. So resampling is key when dealing with time series data that comes in at irregular intervals. And the way it works is it'll transform your data into a consistent, evenly spaced time grid. This is especially useful when you want to apply rolling calculations or feed the data into forecasting models that require uniform spacing. Dataiku's resampling recipe handles this automatically with options for interpolation and extrapolation. So just filling in that missing data when you turn it into regularly spaced intervals. Next, interval extraction. So this is great when you want to isolate specific conditions in your time series data. For example, you might want to identify when revenue falls within a target range, say between 25,000 and 35,000. And then this will just help flag stable periods or detect anomalies or potentially trigger follow-up actions when certain thresholds are crossed. Dataiku makes this really easy with the dedicated recipe that scans and extracts those intervals for you. Next, there's a windowing recipe, and this is a powerful technique to smooth out noisy data and highlight meaningful trends. So it works by applying rolling calculations, like a moving average, over a defined window of time period around each point. This helps reduce volatility in your time series data and can also reveal underlying patterns that you might otherwise miss. Dataiku's windowing recipe makes it really easy to configure left and right boundaries for each window. Now we have extrema extractions. So sometimes we want to zoom in on the most critical parts of our time series, like peaks or drops or inflection points. That's where extrema extraction comes in. This recipe really highlights values around your local maxima or minima, so you can analyze key shifts or anomalies in your data. It's perfect for spotting performance spikes, dips in demand, or outlier behavior over time. Now, last plugin recipe for time series preparation is decomposition. And decomposition lets you break your time series into three key components: trend, seasonality, and residuals. This helps you understand long-term direction, recurring patterns in your data, and what's left over, often noise or unexpected events. It's especially useful when building models that need to isolate and account for seasonal fluctuations. Dataiku's decomposition recipe automates this process, giving you clean insights into how your data behaves over time. Now let's check out how some of these time series preparation steps work together in Dataiku. So here I'm going to navigate to our time series preparation tutorial in Dataiku Data Science Studio, or DSS. And we just have this data set. It's a simple tutorial data set from a fake t-shirt store. So we have different orders. They come in by the order date. Then we have a t-shirt category of the t-shirt sold, how many t-shirts were in that order, and then the amount of the purchase. So the first time series plugin recipe that we're going to use is the resampling recipe. And we have, when we double click into this, our settings where we'll configure the recipe and the different inputs. So the first one is the time column that we have to specify for the recipe. That's just going to be our order date. And then we have time series identifiers. So we'll do this for each t-shirt category. We'll do resampling. And then there's all our settings for the actual resampling steps. So the parameters that we'll resample in, we're going to have do this in 1 day. So each timestamp will be a day in order. And then the methods for interpolation or extrapolation, we're just going to use constant values to fill in the dates in between. And then finally, there's some advanced parameters. Now, when we run this and we get our output, we see that each date in the order date is broken down by 1 day, and there's a lot of zeros in the t-shirt quantity or amount spent, and that's just from the constant interpolation that was done. But if we scroll down, we'll find that we actually have some values, and then before and after in between the days where there wasn't actually a purchase, but it's doing the resampling and interpolation, those values are just repeated. Now, if I jump back to the flow, the second recipe that we used here is extrema extraction. So we take that orders resample data set. Now we're going to actually try to find the global maximum of the amount spent. So when we double click into this recipe, again, we have to specify the time column. That's the orders date. Then we have our time series identifier. So we'll do this extrema extraction for each t-shirt category in our data set. And then the extremum parameters. So the extremum we're going to find in a column. We're going to use the column amount spent. And we're just going to try to find the maximum amount spent. Then there's also some window parameters. So it'll look for that global maximum in the specified window. And we've just configured the width of that window to be 7 days or a week. Then the rest of the columns, we can set a aggregation. So for each window, we'll look at the minimum and maximum of other attributes in our data. Now, when we look at the output of that data set, we now see that we only have 7 rows because these are going to be our global maximum of the amount spent column. We can see the date of those entries where we had that maximum amount spent. And then we get the columns where we did our window calculation and computed the maximum and minimum in those weeks for the amount spent, as well as the maximum and minimum t-shirt quantity. So that is all for time series. Now let's get into geographic data. So Dataiku makes it really easy to work with geographic data, from simple map visualizations to full-on geospatial machine learning. You get a drag and drop interface for building interactive maps, plus visual processors for spatial operations. Dataiku supports industry standard formats like ESRI, shapefiles, and integrates seamlessly with your coding languages in Dataiku like Python, R, or SQL. You can also extend the capabilities of geographic processing with additional plugins, for example, geocoding, routing, and building administrative map overlays. So, geographic processors in Dataiku unlock rich location-based insights directly within the prepare recipe. You can perform operations like calculating the distances, you can create areas around points or resolve IPs to geographic locations, all without writing any code. The geographic processors in the prepare recipe also supports geojoins, coordinate system changes, and converting between geopoints and latitude longitudes. These tools are very powerful for enriching datasets with spatial context, improving everything from logistics to fraud detection. Now, if we see what that really looks like in Dataiku, I'll go home and navigate to the geographic processors tutorial. We have a few data sets on some transactions made up for some merchants. We have card holders and then details about the actual transactions that occurred. The data is for a tutorial. It's not super important, but we'll just look at this raw merchants data set, and we have a prepare recipe after that. So when we go into it, we did a few things beyond basic data prep. So our steps on the left here is what we're focusing on. And the first really cool one we did is we originally had these merchant latitude and merchant longitude columns. And on the left, we were able to create a create geopoint step that took that merchant latitude and longitude and gave us the output, a geopoint column made up of that latitude and longitude. So that's really easy to do. Then we just remove those columns to clean our data. And then the last prepare step we did here was generating a geometry or a bubble around that geopoint. So here we're generating a circle with a 10-kilometer radius around each merchant geopoint, and we're going to call that merchant bubble, which will be really important when we want to visualize our data. Now, Dataiku also offers powerful no-code mapping options to visualize geographic data in just a few clicks. So you can create scatter maps for point-level insights or geometry maps to show custom zones like trade areas, and density maps help visualize concentration using heat map style gradients, while administrative maps support admin levels like your country, region, and postal level breakdowns. And you can go further with bubble maps for size-based representation or filled maps for color-based intensity on the administrative maps. So let's just see what that looks like when we've taken the output of our flow here. So after we've done some joining and preparation of our merchants, transactions, and cardholders dataset, we finally have this transactions prepared dataset, and we can navigate to the charts tab. And this is where we've built some beautiful, easy no-code maps. So the first one, we just did a transactions by authorization. And it's really easy to build charts in Dataiku. You can simply drag and drop the different attributes from the left-hand data column over to your chart. So here we're looking at the cardholder geopoint. Then we're just looking, we're going to color the details of each cardholder geopoint with an authorized flag. So 1 if a purchase was authorized, 0 if not. And then the size of the bubble here, we're just going to indicate to use the purchase amount. All of these are just drag and drop attributes. Really easy to use. Another one that we've done here is looking at transaction counts by state. So this is a filled administrative map. So we've dropped in the merchant geopoint, and this is where you can select your admin level. You get a drop down here for administrative maps, and you can select country, your region, county, city, and that's how you can do your admin level breakdowns. So we've selected region state here. We're looking at the United States, and the count of records is what's going to color our map. So really easy to use maps, and we have additional features. Here you can select the type of map or chart that you want to build. Now, GeoJoins, the next part of the geographic data processing. GeoJoins will let you go beyond raw coordinates to uncover spatial relationships in your data. So Dataiku provides a visual interface to perform joins based on geographic logic, like containment, intersection, or proximity. And the GeoJoin recipe supports a wide range of operations, such as within distance, intersects, contains, for full grain control. And this is really great for use cases like matching cardholders to merchant zones or traffic data to coverage areas. We'll just head into Dataiku and check out what a GeoJoin looks like. So we have another tutorial here where we're using the same merchants and cardholders data. And instead of doing a normal join on them, we're going to do a GeoJoin. So when we go into the GeoJoin, you see we have our left and right data set, and then the different drop-down options for how we're going to do our joins. So we've selected a left join of cardholder dataset onto the merchant's data. Now, our conditions here is a little bit different from a normal join recipe. We don't necessarily have a primary or foreign key that Dataiku will join in, but instead we're going to be joining here on a geopoint. So when we open up this condition, we're matching the merchant geopoint with cardholder geopoint. And this is where you have all those geo options, and we're just selecting here is within distance of. So we also select the distance for this and configure that condition. We've chosen 10 kilometers. So the output in this data set will be matching rows where the merchant geopoint and cardholder geopoint where the cardholder geopoint was within 10 kilometers distance of the merchant geopoint. So Dataiku makes it very easy to join and work with your geographic data. Now moving on, Dataiku brings natural language processing directly into your pipelines, no code required. So with the prepare recipe, you can clean, tokenize, simplify, and structure raw text using built-in processors. We've covered some of the details in a previous webinar where we went over the different visual recipes, and you can check that out on our website and get all the webinars on demand. But if you need more advanced NLP, the LLM recipes let you prompt models, classify or summarize text, and even embed entire data sets. And all those different LLM features and recipes are going to be featured in another upcoming webinar, so stay tuned. Finally, you can also connect to third-party services like AWS Comprehend or Google Cloud NLP to extend your text and natural language processing capabilities in Dataiku. Last up is images, audio, and video processing. So Dataiku extends its capabilities into images, audio, and video, making it really easy to handle unstructured data. For images, you can build deep learning models for classification and object detection using the built-in Visual Machine Learning Lab interface, no code required. Then audio files can be transcribed with the speech-to-text plugin, converting voice into usable text for analysis. Then finally, for video, the object detection plugin helps locate and identify items in video frames using deep learning. Then, of course, for any of the above formats, you can bring in any custom logic using Python or R for full flexibility. So that's really all for the webinar content today. I will monitor the Q&A section if anyone has any questions. Now is the time to ask and we'll answer them. Let me just check if there's anything coming in. Great question. Can anyone publish plugins in Dataiku? So right now there is a process for publishing Dataiku plugins, and I believe when you install Dataiku, presently there's only Dataiku developed plugins on their store. And then partners, I believe, can also develop plugins. It's not just anyone. However, if you are a developer, you have Dataiku, you develop a plugin, I would totally recommend just sharing it, putting it out there. You can put it on a GitHub repository, and Dataiku makes it very easy to import plugins or even a whole project solution from a GitHub repository. Now, I don't see any more questions coming in, so if you have any further questions in the future, feel free to reach out to Compass Data. We are always here to help. Now, before we wrap up today's webinar, I'll just flash the webinar calendar. So we have tons of upcoming webinars. We have one more in April next week on code and scripting in Dataiku. Then our May calendar, we start with diving into the machine learning and ML ops features of Dataiku with a demo on the same week, actually going into building a model, how to deploy it, and then monitor it. Then we'll discuss the AI and prompting LLM features of Dataiku. We'll build a chatbot. We will build an AI agent in one of the demos. So really exciting stuff. And then our webinar series will wrap up in June. We'll discuss things like automation, deployment, and API integration. And then we'll do a few more demos and case study overviews on one example is leveraging AI in pharma, how we did digital transformation using Dataiku for one of our clients. That is all today, but thank you all very much for coming and hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your week.